So then I thought, okay, I can work on a landing bay. This could be kind of cool. And so here I am taking a $100 piece of laminate, and Roy, and he saw me drilling holes. I lined it all up. I'm working this whole thing out, and I'm drilling holes every so often. He's going, no. Well, yeah, I got it, because my idea was, I was in the next slide. If you were to do that, yeah, you'll see there's all the holes, and this is, yeah. And I was going to put at that time, little Christmas tree lights poking up, each one of them. And I was going to turn them on. It was going to be a 2-exposure shot. So I'd light it, let it sit, and burn them all in. I thought it'd be kind of cool, because it would literally light up. Cool. We don't have time for that, Kim. As you go on, the next one is that's it. That's the shot. We're done. Bye. Okay, but that's not what I wanted to do. So the next thing, thank God, Billy could read my mind. And the next shot, when he laid them in, much better job than I would have been done, by the way, just to let you know. And I'm looking at those figures. I'm like, how did you straighten up all those figures? He says, you can't, I'm not allowed to tell you. Okay, fine. So
these days we would do it all in Photoshop.
Oh, hell, that'd be done. Yeah, it's kind of like, here, do one figure here, one figure here, one figure here, and then multiply them out. Yeah. That's cheating. I never do. I don't do that. I'm sorry. No.
This is what it looks like in the end. Tell me, when you were doing the work, at what point did you see the final image before it went to print, before it actually went to the toy stores, or did you?
That's what I would say.
So you would see this before it goes to print?
I would see that because we photographed it. Okay. On occasion, they would have, like if it was before a Toy Fair catalog, then they would come in. That was done probably for a Toy Fair. I would have to shoot the comp. It just depends on the time frame. I might be able to, some point in time, I'd shoot them.
And for those that don't understand and know maybe what the terminology means, so you would get essentially a prototype packaging.
Yes, that's really what it is.
And then you would photograph that, and then that image would go to the Toy Fair catalogs or the different distributors or
wherever they're
retailers.
Yeah,
wherever they went.
Once I shot the film, it went everywhere. That's what happens. I'm sorry.
Let's talk about making a book. Did you ever think back in the 1980s that you would be making a book? You would be a publisher of your own book?
Heck no. No. I never thought we'd be where we are now with it.
There's essentially 3 books. There's one is almost done. It's almost all in the can. Yeah. You're doing the proofing stages at the moment, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And there are officially 2 more. Do you have any news about that first edition? Any plans?
The
actual first edition.
Well, if enough people want it, and everybody else, because I can't twist their arm, trust me, I'll get in trouble. Really want to see a hardcover of A New Hope, I'm all behind it.
Would there be any special editions that could be thrown in there?
God, no.
Maybe.
No. That is a one that bit me in the butt. No. But there would
Fair
be.
enough.
But I've already, in my head, I see the poster. So that would be included with the book if that were to ever happen.
All right, collectors. We're collectors. That's what we do. We buy things. Let's make this happen. Okay, we'll get through the Return of the Jedi book first and get you out of the water.
I truly want to do, if enough people want it, I'd still like to do one of the Power of the Force 2 with E1. That would complete my years. That'd be all the photography.
We focus so much on your career as in the vintage line that we sometimes don't think about all that you did in that more modern era, and there's some beautiful shots, and a lot of that you were able to start moving into some digital effects.
Oh yes,
yes.
Well, also digital effects. We started. What it is from as soon as I started shooting digitally, I had to educate my clients. Kenner needed to be educated, and so what I would do is, because one of the other guys had tried in Cincinnati, tried to go in and say, "Hey, we can do this." Well, no, they couldn't. They couldn't do it because it was going to cost was just outside the realm. I did, well, but let's do digital in your ice cream. So I shot digital ice cream. I showed that to the guys at Kenner. Dave Reed, his name is Dave Reed. Dave Reed looked at it and goes, you know, we can do this. We can do it. So I would shoot things here and there. So he was getting really educated on it. So when I was called in for doing the E1, he goes, okay, it's the way we're gonna go. We're gonna go digital. The separator was there. Took me. We had a break. He goes, you know, I'm gonna bury your ass, don't you? Digital's not there. I'm gonna have fun burying your ass. That's virtually a quote, by the way. Well, I continued to shoot, and he went away. So I didn't get buried.
You did all right.
Sorry.
As a photographer, was the transition from film to digital difficult for you?
No.
What do you attribute that to? Was it your desire to learn the new technology?
Well, I could pick up any camera and make it work. I didn't care. So when I say sometimes I was using the beta versions, the alpha versions of different cameras on the dealer that I was working with. It sounds like weird saying a dealer I was working with. But a dealer I was working with for the different cameras, he was like right there. It's like, my camera went down. Don't know what it is. I need a camera, and I'm shooting now. I'd have one within the hour. I didn't care what kind it was. I could pick up anything and learn it. It's like done.
They always say it's not the camera, it's the man behind the camera.
But I will tell anybody there's guys that I've known that I taught digital to. I tell them, do not take a job. Don't get your first digital camera and take it out on a job. Do not do that.
Even today?
They'd say, oh, they do that.
Oh.
And they'd screw it up. You don't do that. You just learn the camera, learn what its capability, learn what it can do, it can't do, and then take it out. I was confident. Virtually from the day I opened the studio, bought the studio, and digital I'd say Photoshop, because we had the the first version of Photoshop that was called Photoshop 1. I was sending Pat out Java throne room and made it out. I had this diorama in my head. I'd already done the Rancor, which we should have probably done first, but that's me. I made it out of this insulation board, that pink insulation board first, which you see here. Then I used that as a pattern to create this. That is drywall. And then I scored it, bent it around, made it happen. In the next slide, you'll see from there, and that's all self-standing on its own, because I was freaking out, how am I going to do this? Well, this is how I did it. Then I started cutting holes, and I started putting the archways in. Now, friends of mine look at that, and they go, Kim, couldn't you have done a little bit better job of cutting the circles? I said, I'm not worried about that. Don't worry about that. Let's just go for the feel here. Come on. This is not a technological society here. It's a backwater. Yeah, right. So I'm just kind of laying it out as I go. In my head, I've got a vision in my head. I'm going to do it. I've got to cut it out here. And you'll see this is the lighting, start of the lighting in the backside. The stairwell became a friend of mine who saw the image. He says, Kim, you need some light coming in over here. And when he saw this image, the other final image, he goes, I meant a light, like in throwing a light there, not a stairway. And I said, well, yeah, but I like the stairway. When he said a light, that night, I'm sitting there making up the stairway. And it's a stairway. And creating a wall and putting it there. And it's like, this works. And then I was like, okay, light it. I have fiber optic lights there. I needed more light, so I literally used a flashlight, one of the LED flashlights, which are bright as all get out nowadays. And there's your final lighting. Now, there's your image. Now I literally created, that is a hole in there where the grate is. I have a tunnel coming this way. I have my fog machine blowing in and going up. Now, this is actually 2 shots because depth of field there was way beyond. So I wanted the front guys, the really front guy, the Gamorrean guards, to be slightly out of focus, but I wanted the guy, I just call them the guys.
My mom called them the guys as well.
Yeah.
Clean up your guys.
I wanted to focus. And then the guy is standing out there. I think, was that Corey? Was that Corey? I don't know. The actor. Anyway, and from him, then I focused and go back. And I wanted to back and focus. So I literally focused. Then I merged them together. And then I did that, and it's like, oh, crap. Pat says, let me do it. She took it. She's got the patience of Job. Hey, listen, after 42 years she's been living with me, she has the patience of Job. Trust me. She made it happen. I said, yep, I like it. I like that. Really works. But let me tell you, this is one that she actually was hovering around every now and then.
Now, this is the image that comes with the Return of the Jedi book.
Yep.
One of two images.
This is one of the two. This is one. And actually, little known is there's actually a second version of this one.
Will we ever see that?
Possibly.
Maybe one day.
One day, because there are dancing girls in the second version. Gotta have the girls in there. I mean, come on. And Leah's in her slave costume.
So you had to add some modern in there. So we've got the vintage version and the crossover
Power of the
version.
Force 2. Power of the Force 2. Come on.
Hey, collector guys, is Power of the Force 2 modern?
Yes.
No. If I shot it, it's not modern. Trust me.
Sorry, YouTube, if there's any Power of the Force 2 fans out there. I'm a Power of the Force 2 fan. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Well, I can't really say that. I'm sorry. I did shoot an image for the guys for the modern. I did shoot a couple of images for them, so I can't say if I shot it, it's not the. Sorry.
And if you like these images, I'm going to plug Kim again. He's actually got this image, and we will see the other image as well here in just a few moments. He's got these at his booth in a print version, and they look spectacular. And there's even a higher quality image version that I saw earlier, and it's pretty amazing. Let's move on to this now. This is the original photo.
That's the original. Don't ask me where I was used. I shot so many different versions of this. You guys would probably know where this was used. But this was basically the inspiration, because that's the original. I mean, literally, I created the box. That was literally a box about this big, about this tall, cut the top back a little bit, and it was drywall mud everywhere. And then I smoothed it out to the front, just roughed it up. Hey, rocks came from wherever I could find them. Well, that looks good. I'll grab that. And I'd put it in there. That's the way it worked. And then it was like, oh, crap, how am I going to light this damn thing? And that was really, honestly, that's true. So it's like, oh, yeah, okay, so there you go, light it. There's no putting a grade. I hadn't seen the movie. I didn't know what was going on.
How much has changed in lighting over the years? Is it very similar to the way it was back in around 1983 or so?
Yeah.
Not much, is
Night and day. Yeah. It's what you're able to do. Now this is me recreating. Now people are going to say, what's Obi-Wan got to do with this? Listen, Justin, who handles the Kickstarter, was going, he called this the Obi-Wan shot. I'm going, what are you talking about? There's no Obi-Wan in this. This is the Rancor cave. He goes, well, why do you have Obi-Wan in there? I said, because he's the same size as my Rancor monster that I haven't got yet. Oh, okay. I'm laying it out because I had the camera there. I was trying to figure it all out. I didn't know how tall to make it, how wide to make it. Didn't know what I was doing here. It was like, okay, I have an idea in my head, but I had to work it out. So this is what this is all about. So backing up a little bit, I got that part worked out. Then I just going through, as you've seen, as I start building. And I start slathering on, that's drywall mud. And I'm taking rocks and slapping up in the drywall mud as fast as I would. Okay, leave it there. Okay, we're good. Go to the next. Do it again. Do it again.
Is it all spray painted, or do you use an airbrush?
Me and airbrushes don't work well together. I tried. Billy tried to sit down with me and learn airbrushing. No. Photoshop I can deal with, but not airbrushing.
This isn't quite as detailed as it. You don't have to be spot on. You don't have to stay within the lines on this, I don't think.
Pat's look, isn't that enough? I'm dead serious. She'd go, you're sticking up the place. So here we go. I finally, okay, I've got the walls. Okay, where am I going to put, because I'm going to put a grate up here. I've got my tunnel back here. I'm calling it a tunnel, the gate. And I know the gate's bigger and all that, but you know, he gets smaller as he goes back. And so it's kind of like, okay, this is about where I wanted it. And I go, that'll work. So I'm getting out, because this is Durock. This is quarter inch Durock. So cut it once, you're done. So I cut it out. Obviously nothing's in the right place nothing's in the right place. Cut it out, then I have to turn the whole thing upside down, put a couple of two supports on it, turn it upside down, slather, put all the rocks down, got all the rocks everywhere, waited a day, turned it upside down and watched half of it go down the floor.
Just like our action figures.
Yeah, worse. This made a mess. Turn it back up. Did it again. Spray painted a little bit too. Waited 2 days. Turned the right side up. Didn't lose anything. And Pat's struggling to pick this thing up. It's not light. Pat's tiny, if you've seen it. We put it up there. This is because I'd already marked it where it's going to go. So I was okay, there it is. And I had a little bit of drywall to do. Got the drywalling in there. That sounds weird, but it's drywall mud and getting it all set up. And then I just went crazy with the drywall, with the spray paint. And that kind of looks like where I want it to go.
When back in the earlier days, when you would build a more elaborate set, something elaborate like this, did you try to get as much use out of it with different toys, different figures, or did Kenner want to keep things fresh and different for each?
The only thing I could use was the mountains and the snow. That was it. You couldn't use this over here, this over. The speeder bike, eventually Power of the Force 2. That was the similar backgrounds for Luke and Leia, but that was the only ones. And see, here's your lighting.
It's quite an elaborate setup. How many lights would you say is lighting that one scene?
How many what?
How many light fixtures are lighting that one scene?
2, 3, 4, 5. Probably 5.
It's a lot of light. But you have once you see the final image, you're going to see all the different angles and everything. There's a different angle for the lighting setup.
Yeah. Well, I have the fiber optic lights, and so and here I'm experimenting with the fog and getting to see what I'm going to do.
How long did it take you to figure out the fog? I imagine fog kind of has a mind of its own.
Yeah, it does, but just a lot of that's the beauty. That's the absolute beauty of digital, because I'm looking at it. I don't look at the I've connected to the camera. I'm shooting from the camera because I'm not touching the camera. This is at least a 4-second exposure. And so I wanted that motion to go in. Any motion that would be there of the fog. I did not want it, but it still didn't make any sense. I wanted a little bit. So it's kind of like, that's what a typical day was. My dogs were looking at me really funny that day between the spray paint and the fog. Give me a break. So,
My wife would come down. What's all that smoke? What are you burning the cooking again?
No, that's Pat's job, not mine. Oh.
What was your goal? Was this also a 4-second exposure, or was this?
Oh yeah,
longer
I
because
stayed at 4-second
Okay,
exposure. Yeah,
because there's significantly more smoke and.
Yeah, it just depends on how long I was playing with because I would do it all over. It's like to get a feel for it, and and how long it's going to be. It just depends.
There's a lot of shots that go in before you actually get an action figure actually in the scene.
Right. And here you know what? Maybe that might have been only about a 1-second exposure, because here's the 4-second exposure. Things cloud up in here sometimes. You can tell by the light of the under the gate.
Now this is the final image.
That's the final image.
So that's the one you can.
The only Photoshop, and you will not see it here. The only Photoshop, other than the camera, these sensors are pretty daggone big. There were a couple of spots in it that I didn't clean off well. What can I tell you? I cleaned those off. Okay, got that. And I think up here there was a place I had to fix, and we're 4 minutes. And over here there might be I had to fix. Other than that, under his right foot is the only Photoshop.
What was that?
Actual true Photoshop, retouching. I enhanced the image. I popped the color. That's pretty much what I did.
One little area near his right foot.
Right underneath his right foot, because I moved him around so much that it's kind of like I missed it. I'm looking straight at it. I missed it right there.
If you get it in the camera right the first time, it's a lot less work in the end.
Yeah.
Who's that man?
That's me, and a lot skinnier. Actually, I weighed more now there than I do now. But this is working on the Hoth battle scene.
So tell me about this shot. This is kind of an iconic shot for you. We're nearing the end, so we won't take too long. but this became kind of one of your signature shots.
This became the signature shot right here. This was as Roy was going out the door on a week vacation, skiing vacation, said, "Got this little tabletop shot. Go see Mark Kestator." Okay, and I came back. This isn't a tabletop shot, but he's already gone out the door. So I had to figure out how to do it and what I was going to do. And The first one that I didn't give you. It's all marked up. He says, Kim, no, this isn't right. I want this going this way. And he goes, but I need some reference. Then I see the reference. At that time, I'd seen the movie a year, 18 months before. Actually, but not quite, a little over a year before that. And it was kind of like, oh, okay, I got it now. I had to go by memory. And then they gave me some actual images, prints to look at. I want this, but I don't want this. Yeah.
So this is the final image.
Yes. It's actually yes and no. The final image that Kenner got was never airbrushed.
No lasers.
No, there were no lasers, but it was the first image ever that they'd ever had computer retouched. Remember, this is back in '82. Okay, this image I did as my thesis. I used as my thesis for my master. It's one thing I kind of delayed doing. Thank God they let me delay it that long. I used it as my centerpiece for my thesis. And I went over to Billy. Billy, would you do that? I need lasers put in here. I need things taken in. I need put in, out, back, and I want to photograph it in between. So that's what we did. Now, I had this. Now, when Kenner apparently kind of missed the boat that one time, they kind of let things lapse. I don't know, it was early 90s. I get a call from Dave Reed and said, Kim, what do you have in Star Wars imagery? I need some for Star Wars imagery. I go, what do you want? Well, I need Star Wars imagery. Okay, what do you want? Can you pick out 10 images or so, 20 images? Okay. I picked out this one. Well, I had taken 4x5s of the final image that Billy had done. Well, as it turns out, they used this in Star Wars Galaxy magazine for their poster. That isn't the image that became the POP.
This is the thesis. Did you pass? Did you pass?
Oh yeah, I got my master's. As I always say, I wish I had the F, but I never got an F, so what can I tell you? So anyway, that's a bad joke, I know that. So yes, but this Billy made this the beautiful stuff it is.
Well, Kim, can you tell us what's next for the man who shot Luke Skywalker? Any plans? What does the future hold?
I'd like to do, personally, I'd love to find a publisher that would publish the books so that it'd be reasonably priced for everybody. That's my goal. Whether that can happen, I don't know. Because
do we have any publishers in the audience?
Yeah, it bothers me that they cost so much.
They're beautiful, though. I think they're worth every penny personally. I own them. I bought them myself. So I can say from my point of view, they're absolutely beautiful. If you haven't seen them and you don't own them, definitely consider it because they're just an amazing piece of Kenner history. I want to thank Kim for joining us again this year. He's so good to the Star Wars community, and we're absolutely glad he's here. I hope the folks in YouTube actually enjoyed the presentation. We'll be back with Dickie Beer later on this afternoon. Actually, in 15 minutes, Dickie Beer will be on stage with Kevin Lyle as the panel host. So I hope you can join us for that. Please give Kim Simmons a round of applause. Thank you so much for being here, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys soon. Be back in about 15 minutes.
Welcome, my heart so full of devotion.
Hello, iCCCon vendor room. I hope you guys are having such a fun time in the vendor room there. Just wanted to give you a little announcement from the main stage. This is David Longwater, your master of ceremonies. We have Dickie Beer joining us in the main stage room in about 10 minutes. If you've seen an action film in the last 40 years or so, you've certainly seen Dickie's acting or stunt coordination or even direction. Come take a look and see Kevin Lyle on the main stage interviewing Dickie Beer. We'll see you soon.
Jack it up.
Hello, iCCCon Vendor Room. Once again, just wanted to give you a reminder that in 2 minutes we have Dickie Beer on the stage with Kevin Lyle. Come see Dickie Beer and Kevin Lyle. Dickie Beer was Boba Fett in the Return of the Jedi. He was also Barada and a biker scout. Come hear stories about the life of a stuntman. We'll see you soon. Hi, everybody. In just a few minutes, we're going to go live with... Hang on just a moment. Hi, YouTube Live. This is David Longwater, your master of ceremonies for the iCCCon. Due to some unexpected changes, the panel with Dickie Beer for the evening is not going to go on, but you can catch Dickie Beer this weekend on the stage with Daniel Logan and Mark Anthony Austin for a 3 times Boba Fett panel. It's going to be awesome. Also, some very great news. Unfortunately, as many of you heard, Spencer Wilding and Jimmy V couldn't make it because they got stuck in Paris due to COVID restrictions. They're very sorry that they couldn't make it, but just at the last minute, we've added a special panel. Tales from the Sail Barge. We have Stephen Costantino and Mark Dodson, who played Salacious Crumb. They're going to be on stage with Kevin Lyle as the host. We'll see you tomorrow. Remember, all times are central, so at 11 a.m. Central Time, we'll have Jim Swearingen on stage, and then the panel with that was supposed to be Spencer Wilding, but it's now going to be Stephen Costantino, and Mark Dodson will be at 2 p.m. Central Time. We'll see you tomorrow throughout the whole day, and then Sunday as well. Thanks for joining us, iCCCon. We'll see you in the morning.